Well, it's not muted. Awesome job. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chilling with the Cooler. I am the Cooler. My name is Owen. And on this show, I basically go over the videos that have gone up in the last week and answer any comments, questions, anything else that has come up. Oh. On my watches is 11 p.m. already. Anyway, so that's basically the way the show goes. I'm going to move my microphone forward a little bit here so you can hear me a little bit better. But, yeah, so the first thing we do is I go through and I answer all the comments that were left on any of the videos that have gone up over the last week. And then afterwards, I answer any questions or comments that have come up on the chat. So, if you're in the chat right now, you're watching this live, just write any question, comment, concern, anything you'd like me to answer, or I'll try and answer. And I will. But I won't do that until after I've answered the questions on the other videos. So, getting right into this right now. The first thing, the Chilling with the Cooler from last week, where I talked about all kinds of stuff, one of which was Dark Eldar and how they are not the most evil thing in 40k. And it looks like there's actually a lot of comments on here, so give me one moment here while I start going through the list. Imperador, he missed it. Oh, that sucks. Shizumaru got doing other things and ended up missing this. Facepalm. Anyway, on the Dark Elf / Dark Eldar and mini wargaming thing, neither Dave nor Matt seems to be aware that Chaos has historically been more unpleasant than either of the Dark armies. Original supplements, Slaves to Darkness, Lost and Damp, and the novels have definitely shown Chaos as more obscene, and Slaanesh models have had bare breasts and almost everything up until the latest model releases. Hell, in Manowar, Slaanesh Pleasure Barge flat out turned opposing sailors into sex-crazed drug mutineers. Tyranids used to take biomass from people and breed hybrids to infiltrate worlds. Seriously, it's probably the fact that the Dark Eldar / Dark Elves have sexy models in their armies and nothing more than that. Mini wargaming surprised me when they started covering Infinity because women wear tight gear and seem to be more adult than they can handle. So, basically what he's referring to is, we had talked about because someone had brought up, or maybe I had brought it up, about how Mini Wargaming doesn't cover Dark Eldar in battle reports, and that they never will, according to Matt. And that I found that silly, because the Dark Eldar are no less like messed up or terrible than any other faction in Warhammer 40k. And so I didn't really understand why you would ban that one particular faction, because as far as game is concerned, whether they torture those people or not makes no difference on whether you need a 3 to hit or a 4 to hit on a 6-sided dice. Anyway, and that was Shizumaru making his point. Jebu911, hope you win, Dave. I bet it's going to be a great game. He hopes Dave wins. Dick move, man. Commenting on my video saying he hopes Dave would win. Forrest, in the morning will be great for your live shows here in Australia. Alright, keep that in mind. I also at the end of the video I had asked how people, or what kind of videos people would like to see. And basically okay, here we go. I would like to see how your mind works when you build a fantasy list. One of the things I was going to say was how to build a fantasy list, or at least how I build a fantasy list. And that I should probably get friends in there and chat about tactics together when we build these fantasy lists. Mini Wargamer Dave started doing that and immediately made his shows more interesting to watch. Yeah, I would totally understand that. The downside is we don't have a very vibrant fantasy community here. There's not a lot of us. I think maybe like, and of the lot of us that are here, I'm pretty sure I can beat all the locals. So it would be basically like me having ideas and then telling Luke that he's wrong. No, I'm kidding. I could probably try and find somebody, but those would be really rare. Like if I just do it myself and show how to build lists with different factions, I can do them a lot more common. But if I'm trying to find somebody who also plays fantasy and also knows about that faction and also is available and also will be on camera, it becomes a lot harder to do. I think 5 p.m. in Canada should be around 10 p.m. here in Italy and Europe. Will be quite a good time for doing live shows. Mick, A show on other games you would like to try. Get a hobby shop to donate a starter box set, or let you just use one. To do not so much but do a demo, but just kind of run through the rules and get a feel for it. Don't know. Maybe you could even get a manufacturer to donate one. I think you have the juice to pull that off with your followers and subscribers. Just an idea. Sincerely, Uncluttered by Talent. Yeah, I don't know if I actually have like the as many of you guys as there are. Like, we're certainly not mini wargaming, or I'm not mini wargaming. So I don't think manufacturers are just going to be like, yeah, here you go. We know that you're a reliable, long-lasting, very large, and well-known group. Here, have free stuff. No, I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe in the future, but I have been trying to pick up stuff as I can when I can afford it. So, for example, I'm starting Infinity on Tuesday, and I'll be going over the rules for that. I'd like to get Drop Zone Commander, but that'll probably be delayed for at least a few months. And we've almost got 2 factions painted up for Wrath of Kings. And then at that point, I'll be able to start doing some Wrath of Kings battle reports. So, there we go. So there are more games coming. And Twilight Imperium. It's a board game, but I love it, so we're going to be doing it. More Warmahorde battle reports. Want to see more Scorn. Alright, I'll play Scorn in the next War Machine battle report I do. William, I want you to sit down and discuss the various Warmahorde's armies and talk about them, specifically on minions, because that's who I play. Or do a tutorial on the game. That would be cool. You play minions? That's unfortunate. They're like... Of all the factions in the game, they're the least of a faction. I did though, because I've seen you comment on this a few times, William. I talked to a buddy of mine who does play minions, and after Gen Con, we'll probably be doing a battle report, and he's going to play with the new Minions Warcaster, and we'll do a battle report. Just cause you asked, we're doing it. The Slayer. Most of your live shows are streamed during the middle of the day or late morning in Australia, such as 10 a.m. or 12 a.m. It works, just I'm busy during the day most of the time. Good on you for considering the Aussies. Why not? Went to a 40k tournament on Saturday. It seems there's so much heavy armor now, it's not worth bringing infantry lists. At least I just went to have fun. Also, nobody really knew the new rules. So that's the shittiest tournament I've ever heard of then. Nobody knows how to play, and they all brought the same list. Sounds like a 40k tournament, actually. You know what? I take that back. And that also could just be representative of your meta. If you move around from region to region, what kind of lists get used change quite drastically. For example, like the way War Machine lists are made in my area from here to like Toronto, we all have like a way of playing and a way of building lists that is different than the people who I met when I was in Chicago. Like they play just differently. It's not bad, it's not worse, it's just different. Damiano, any idea for 50-point list for Cyrus? Thank you anyway, even if you don't answer. I love this show. 50-point list for Cyrus. Iron Mother, 2 of the refrigerators, and as many drones as you can bring. First thing you do is you walk up, you go, I'm going to have my Warcaster Arc Node Backlash on one of your jacks. Then I'm going to have my Colossal shoot you and drag you in, doing 1 point of damage, and then doing 1 damage to your caster. And now all of my drones walk up and do 1 damage to your jack until you die. 50 points. It's janky and it's funny. And no one will expect that. How far do you travel for tournaments? Just wondering, since we have a growing Warmahordes tournament community here at the border of New York, and I assume that's Pennsylvania. Is PA Pennsylvania? I don't know the short forms. Also, have you seen the miniature game Dust? What are your thoughts on it if you have? Thanks and love the vids. Thank you. I have seen it, and for the longest time, Chris and I, Chris being the guy from Mini Wargaming, were going to buy into Dust, and every time we were going to do it, we didn't do it. So, it's interesting and it's cool looking, but we just never got around to it. As far as how far I'll go for a tournament, the furthest I'll usually go is... That's a creaky cube. I should probably stop doing that. The furthest I'll go is like an hour and a half. So, for example, if you're on the most western side of the border between, like, because I know New York is like this. Like, it's like a square cut off, and Pennsylvania is like all along the bottom. So if you're on the western side, closer to the lakes, I would probably be able to make it there because that's not too far. But if you're way over towards the east coast, then that turns into like a 4-hour drive, and I'm not going to do that. So leave a comment. Let me know where you end up. Flaming, what are your favorite Kickstarters / have you backed any? And I feel like painting videos and bat reps. I like the idea behind the how to make a list, maybe for fantasy as well once you get it down. I do know how to play fantasy, for the record. I make good lists in fantasy. The downside was that I had just forgotten a lot of the rules because I hadn't played in like a year. But as far as what Kickstarters have I backed, or my favorite ones, I don't really have a favorite Kickstarter. I've backed a few, just random things here and there, never very much to get like the big prizes in them. So, yeah. When did the fantasy rulebook come out? I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago now. Like we're right around the point where we're going to look at getting a new fantasy rulebook. I know that's a thing. And Damien, I enjoy your Game with the Cooler videos the best, but I understand how impromptu ones could be difficult. So to your what do you guys want to see more of question, more Steam / League of Legends games. Oh, and board games. But I've mentioned that a million times. It's coming. It's coming. Got a nice table set up now. You could all play. I just need to find people who actually like board games, which is apparently friggin' impossible. So, I got like 3 people that I actually know that will play a board game and will actually be willing to do it on any kind of like decent regular schedule. Anthony, as far as content goes, you're doing great so far, particularly like chilling. More bat reps are always great and would enjoy seeing general tactics, list building, models / unit analysis, etc. Okay, well, I already accepted that one. More battle reports would, more battle reports is obvious. I would like to make more. The only difficult part of that is finding people to play and the time to do it. And so, other than that, alright, tactics. Tactics is the way to go. Ultimate Me, I would very much like to see you build a Warhammer Fantasy list. I'm thinking about starting an Empire army, and I'd like to see what you think, or I should think, when building a list, so I start buying the right models right off the bat. The white / backboard thing would also help to better visually understand what you're on about. For starters, I'm thinking Empire State Troops, 10 swordsmen plus 10 handgunners, and a witch hunter, as I'd like to start a Mordheim witch hunters list too. I've thought about this quite a lot, building lists and making plans, but the truth of it is all the lists I build are what I think would work best, which might not be the truth. Of course, there's no need to demonstrate exactly an Empire army, just general guidelines that would work in any army. We'll build on that. That's the way it would most likely be. Basically, of all of the fantasy armies, the only army that I don't know is Empire. I have played as or against every other faction many times except for Empire. I've never played against or played as an Empire army. Not once. And I've played probably like a 500, 600 games of fantasy. And I've never played him. So, yeah, that's basically how that goes. I have to admit, I was a bit unnerved to find out a few people at Mini Wargaming were Mormons. Then again, I appreciate Matthew's openness and his willingness to accept and discuss other people's views. Bottom line is, if you think you're going to be offended by insert whatever topic could possibly offend you for whatever reason, do not watch their content. I find Matt is not offensive in the least. Like he talks about stuff and he has that like disclaimer at the beginning of his sit-in talks, and like it's hilariously PC, like politically correct. The closest thing that he gets towards being like offensive is when he talks about his own religious views, which 9 times like they're always, I would like to see my family and I don't like violence. Does anyone really get offended by that? Really? I mean, sometimes... No, you know what? He doesn't even talk about politics. Once again, we're falling into those don't talk about other YouTubers things. So I'm not going into it anymore. Other than the fact that I don't find anything that they could say offensive. I don't find anything offensive, though. So that's just me. Maybe it is just me. Maybe people do get offended by stuff like that. I'm not one of those people. I actually really don't get offended by anything. and that's kind of my view when I talk, is that I feel that no one should be allowed to call offense and use that as an argument. Like, you can't say that because I find it offensive. Should never be something someone's allowed to actually use as an argument for something. So, but I know that's not the case. It's in the real world, people cry wolf or cry about everything, and then they get what they want, and other people have to stop talking or stop doing or whatever. Anyway, Christopher, I think some more tactical videos would be neat, like how to beat the Butcher or Epic Haley. Just something basic on how to avoid powerful Warcaster pitfalls. Also, when are we going to get your War Machine / fantasy campaign? Also, I was curious about how you felt about the current fat shaming trend. At least. And last but not least, what's your favorite alcohol? Fat shaming trend. Alright, let's start from the beginning. Tactical videos. How to beat the Butcher or Epic Haley. Trying to tell you how to beat Butcher or Epic Haley is really difficult. I can give you idea for lists that would be like an okay counter to that. But the really powerful caster pitfalls, you need to just kind of know what they're going to do and be aware of it when it happens. Like for Butcher, you need to know that he can travel essentially 26 inches of threat. And you have to just know that that's the case. And you have to plan accordingly so that you don't get caught in that. For Epic Haley, you know you're going to lose one of your turns. You just didn't have to accept that. One of your turns is going to be lost. And depending on what faction you play, that'll hurt you or not hurt you more or less. I can give you some basics to try and avoid them. Like if you're playing Prime Haley, if you're playing against like Epic Asphyxious, use P. Haley if you have Signar. She's a very, very good counter to him, as his feat doesn't work if she has Temporal Barrier up. If you want to fight Butcher, anything that stops charges or stops spells, like Orin Midwinter or the Book, are great for screwing over Butcher, because he really wants to energize, and he really wants to Flashing Blade, and he really wants to Impending Doom. So if you can mess that up, or E. Iris, if you can knock off his focus, also great. Also, my thoughts about this current fat shaming trend. I wasn't aware that there was a fat shaming trend. So I don't really have a thought on it. And that's how that goes. And what is my favorite alcohol? I don't know. It changes. Every like 6 months, there's something else. It's not like flavor of the week, more like flavor of the quarter. So that's how it goes. So right now, I don't know. I'm in the process of switching out of drinking White Russians. Dun dun dun. Oh, there's lots of comments, but I'm gonna finish answering other comments on other videos first. So, Painting Tau. This is part 1 of the Painting Taus. Because there were lots of comments on here. When you did the sad kid argument, that actually kind of happened to me. I can never play Tau at the gaming club because those guys there don't want to play against me when I play Tau. I can play fantasy there or just with my other armies. Sad part is I almost never won anyway. Pretty much tie games all the time. Yeah, we used to give David crap for that, my friend David. When we played 40k way back when and he started playing Grey Knights and the new Grey Knights came out, we would go on and on about how amazingly overpowered the Grey Knights were and then beat him and then tell him that his stuff is ridiculously overpowered. Because ridiculous. I love your sense of humor, Owen, always with the sarcasm. I really have to see these live someday. I just keep missing them every time. Wish you were back at Mini Wargamer. Those guys never do any fantasy games, and I don't really care for 40k that much because fantasy is the superior game. Fair enough. It is. Gimli. Hey, Owen, just a quick question. What was it like working at Mini Wargaming? It was good. It was a nice job. Well, it was a fun job. But it was a job it wasn't a career, it was a job. If you can recognize the difference there. It was one of those things. All in all though, great guys to work with, fun times. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. Rubik's Cube, what kind of evil sorcery is this? Woo! Are you going to finish the bases on the Tau? Yes, we did. There's a second part of this that I did. More. Why don't you just get them professionally painted if you don't enjoy painting as much? Because I also don't enjoy spending money. So, yeah, that's why we're not doing that. And going into part 2 of the painting. Oh, and have you ever thought getting into Malifaux? If not, I highly recommend it. I honestly do not care for the Malifaux models. I just don't like any of them. That has been the thing. Like, I looked at it, and I've looked at it, and I've looked at it, and like Dan started playing it, and like I've done demos on it, and I just don't like them. I look at them, and I just, the hell is that? And why would I want to play with that? I don't know. I can't get into it. Can't get into it. I don't know. Steve, just an inspiration. I needed to get back into painting, working on Gorshade, Lord of Ruin, and a dozen Adeptus Sororitas. Man, I hate that word. Well, good. I'm glad you got into painting. Just a quick FYI, paint thinner will destroy acrylic paints. Well, good thing I didn't use paint thinner. That said, I got my red fixed. It's red again. I don't know if you can hear that, but it moves. Use acrylic medium for water for thinning when they get chunky. Also, Elmer's glue guide, not school glue, is also a PVA. Polyvinyl acetate glue, and probably cheaper than Citadel. Like the gray sand base on the Riptide. Really makes the green pop. Yeah, that's how we do. Also, the only reason I have a Citadel one is because it came with a pack when I picked up the basing kit. You get one of these. And I got that at Mini Wargaming because we were throwing them all out way back when. But anyway, hey, thinking of picking up War Machine, gonna get a core book this week. Was wondering what army you would suggest. I was looking at one of Khador, Signar, or the Protectorate. Looking for an army that is kind of forgiving on rookies, sort of easy to learn, difficult to master. Play Crix, to be honest. If you want something that's forgiving and easy to learn, but difficult to be really good at, Crix is the way to go. They have very easy 1-2 combos, and they have a lot of really powerful, just easy to use stuff. But in order to be really good with them, you gotta spend the time. If you do want to play the other ones, Signar is not very forgiving. If you mess up, you're screwed, and you need to know a lot to play Signar, because they have a lot of issues with a lot of different things. Protectorate is actually really good in the sense that it really rewards you for doing the basics. Like, if you can get your order of operations down, like move choir first, buff with that, move vassal, shoot with that, use casters, buff them. Like, if you can get everyone does the thing in the right order, your army really benefits, so you'll learn a lot using that. And Khador is pretty straightforward because they don't have a lot of that intermediary. Everyone just kind of does their own thing, but they have to do it at the right timing. So that's my advice. I'm not saying any one of them is the better one, except for maybe Crix. They'd be the easiest. But that's my advice. Oh, and just pick up the 2-player starter set. You'll get Khador and Protectorate, and it costs the same as getting like the same value. You'll get, if you buy the 2-player starter set, you basically get the other faction for free. That's how much. That's the cost. Where is the Archage? Yeah, I know. There's gonna be another beta event, and then I can continue my beta adventures. Wrecked. I just got into mini gaming with War Machine, partly thanks to you. Woohoo! I made you spend money. I'm currently painting up the men outside of the 2-player battle box. I didn't like the recommended scheme, so I decided to go Irish with green, orange, gold, silver, and it's turning out pretty well. Thanks for the recommendation about the green base with green paint. I'm rethinking my planning basing. Yeah, it ends up looking ridiculous. Like, you end up just being like green and green and green and green. And so that's why I swapped to brown. He's over there. But it does make it a lot better if you put him on brown. So that's what I would recommend. JA, oh, and you realize you can paint flock, right? Instead of removing it, just add to it or just paint it and add to it. Yeah, I could do that, but I don't want to. We're just starting from scratch. I'd rather do that. Hey, do you post League videos on another channel? I actually don't really record my League games. I'm only in Silver, so it's not like I'm going to be showing you, like, this is high-level play of League. But if you guys want, I will record them and post them on here. I'll just have, like, a separate playlist of whenever I happen to have played a League game. So if that's something people want to watch, then I will do it, because I usually just do that to play for fun. Thinking of starting a 40k army. Don't really know how to start it as I'm used to War Machine. Would a Chaos Terminator Lord, Power Axe, and Stormbolter be a good place in a Chaos Space Marine army? And it looks like Jay, Rat, and you both had a conversation here, Matthew. He's probably got better advice on this than I do, simply because I've kind of like don't give a shit about 40k, and I don't know the new edition. So, like, the old advice, I would have said, yeah, why not? Chaos Lord with Power Axe? Awesome. But in the new edition, I don't know if it's as good as it used to be. So, I hear Demon Princes are really good. That's what I would recommend if you really want to get one of those. Not to mention they're just sweet looking, like Demon Prince. Big Demon Prince. All right, we're almost there. There's a lot of videos and a lot of comments today. So now we are moving on to Gaming with the Cooler. This was on Wednesday when I played StarCraft in League, and it looks like there weren't that many. Josh, hey, how would I go about contacting you regarding a business inquiry? Just send me a PM. Send me a message, and I'll respond to you. Probably. Omni Lord Swag. StarCraft is so fast-paced. Good lord. Yeah, StarCraft is a very, like, you gotta be good. If you're really good, you're really good. But if you're not really good, you're just like, ah. Maybe we could get a couple PvE options in next week's Gaming with the Cooler. As in, like, single-player games? I mean, I'll do it. I usually don't do that, though, because the entire purpose was that we could all play together. But I'll put it on the list. I'll put it on the vote. Mark, man, I love you. No homo. But your quality has fallen a bit. I feel like I'm not watching a show, but a guy on camera. I loved you at Mini Wargamers 40k Battle Reports. Yep. Are you referring to the live shows are more of a guy on camera as opposed to a show? Or not? Yeah, that's... I mean, it's something that I'd like to fix. A lot of it is basically I don't have a proper setup. Like, it got better. You should have seen it before. Oh, man. But it's one of those, I don't have the equipment that I had at Mini Wargaming to make proper shows. Like, I don't have as nice a camera. Don't have as nice, well, I have the same microphone. But I don't have as nice, like, a setup. I don't have a nice table. Don't have a nice background of paintings and models and stuff. Like, I've got those guys on the shelves, but, yeah. So, the battle reports, I'm working on that. Those guys are coming back up again because I did kind of mess those up the last few. So, do apologize, but they're on the way. They're on the way, Mark. And we've got one more. I did the War Machine one the other day. So here is the battle report. No, I did this one the other day. Never mind. It was the Crix and Signar one. And the other one I also answered on my painting episode the other day. So, there we go. It took half the show, but we got through all the comments, which is good. I'm glad there's that many comments. So now I'm going to go into the live chat and start looking at the questions that were asked here. Have you finished the Tau bases? Nope, I have not. How tall am I? 6'4", 6'5", something like that? Is that an owl or a lion on the box on the table? It's a lion. Did Cooler leave Mini Wargaming? Yes. No, I don't hope Dave wins Tau forever. I hope Ultramarines rain drop pods from the sky and win regardless of who and which races are playing. It's 11 p.m. in Moscow. Wrath of Kings is good, dude. Hawk are releasing plastic starters at Gen Con for Drop Zone, which looks awesome. Oh, man. Loving it. Loving it. Creaky cubes come from taking them apart. Nah, this one, I mean, maybe it got taken apart. I've had this cube for years. I just like it because I've used it so much that it's really easy to spin around. Oh, and you should play Star Wars X-Wing. I played Star Wars X-Wing. I didn't... It was fun. It was one of those, once you bought all the ships, where else do you go? Like, you'll fall into traps. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. Never mind. I'm not even going to go into it. Monopoly would be a good game. It has the same rage-inducing effect as League. This game has the same rage-inducing effect. Make a Wood Elves list. I'm really new to fantasy and would help making a list. Alright, alright. Get vampires instead, they're cool. Hope you are making fantasy campaigns in the future. Would be pretty cool to see, and I'm sure you can do it right. Yeah, no, I do know how to make a good fantasy campaign. This is the big problem with when you want to run a campaign. You need people who will show up consistently, and it's fucking impossible to get that to work. Like, I want to run like even the simplest things, like come together one night to play a board game, and it's oh my god, I don't know if I can make it this week. You're gonna like, honestly, that's what it's like. So when you want to play a campaign, which means I'm gonna need you probably twice a week, so we can do this at any kind of regular speed, and then I want to record these, and you have to play consistently, and there are rules around, and they take longer, and it's just no way. It's so hard to get people to actually do it. So hopefully we can do one, but I gotta find people who will actually do it. Woo! I made it. Good job, Sam. Glad you made it. Is it possible that you owned some Eldar a few months, weeks, or years ago? No, I have not owned Eldar. I have played Eldar, but I did never own them. Record and post League games. Would be awesome to see someone playing just for fun. I agree with Sam. That's what Sal said. I agree, I guess. But, yeah. How do you get in the mood to paint? I have models that need to be painted, but I can never bring myself to paint, said Lizard Lenny. How do I get in the mood to paint? I go, oh my god, I need to paint something. I haven't painted these guys, and I got so much to paint. Forget it, we're painting. And then I turn on the camera and go, alright, I'm going to sit here and paint. And then I answer questions, and I basically just hang out, and that's how I do it. Because I like doing the shows. I like just chatting with people. And so that's how I do it. Take a load of acid, Lizard, and then see where that leads you. That could get you to paint. Nah, it probably wouldn't get you to paint. Star Hunter, Owen, I asked you something a long time ago. Have you read 40K Black Library books? Any of them? Yep, I have read a couple of them. The First Traitor, or First Betrayal, or something like that. The one with Logar and the first guys that get possessed. I've read the Fall of Paradiso, or Paradisimo, and then the other side version where it's from the Space Wolves. Like both of them, the one from the Thousand Suns and from the Space Wolves. Probably more. I read one where it was like Iron Hands, or not Iron Hands, Iron Warriors. Yeah, there's a couple of them. So yeah, I've read a few. They're all alright. They're interesting in a sense. I don't know. It's hard to like try and yeah. What happened to Mini Wargamer Joe? I don't know. Mini Wargamer Joe moved out of the area. Well, there you go. But we can see Owen, Dan, and Jay on YouTube. No Joe here. Fair enough. Fuck people who are iffy about getting games in. I barely get a chance to play once a week's due to working third shift. Yeah, I believe it. That's one of those. I agree. That's why it's annoying. Who is this Joe you are talking about? Joe was a guy who used to show up often or semi-often, like 2 or 3 years ago, on Mini Wargaming battle reports and videos. He's a personal friend of Matt and Dave's and Dan's, I assume. But he kind of showed up less and less as life kind of took over, from what I understand. I don't really know, because Joe and I were never good buddies, but we talked every now and again. Yeah, check out the older videos and the Vault videos. Random question, can you notice your accent? No, not all the time. Sometimes I can do it, but I often don't. Like, I mean, I'm told I have an accent, and it's also one of those things, like, everyone does. You can, like, everyone has their way of talking. I don't recognize it. He doesn't have an accent. Well, He does. He doesn't. He does. He doesn't. He does. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Mark of Stark. Wait till you have kids and your friends have kids to play games. Oh yeah, no. I believe it. I believe it. Honestly, a friend of mine, actually, we were talking about playing both Twilight Imperium and High Command, and this was his response back to me. It was, yeah, I'll have the last 2 weeks of August with the kids off, as though he's like the kids off work, and then we'll be able to play. And I found that amusing. So, I mean, hey, look forward to it in the next couple of weeks in the end of August, as that's when words are coming to me. Board games may be played. Why am I yawning? It doesn't even make sense. I'm not tired. I'm sore. My foot is killing me. I have no reason. I have no idea why. It's the same as like when I came back from Adepticon. It's starting to swell and is in a lot of pain, and it's killing me. I have no reason. I just woke up with it the other day. But anyway, is it bad if I friend your personal Facebook? You may not get a response. I don't usually use my personal Facebook for much other than planning events with local friends of mine. And when I say planning events, I mean like barbecues and going to the bar and like cottage weekends and stuff like that. So I mean, if you want more things related to like wargaming, you're going to want to actually friend or like the Facebook page, as that's where I'll talk about like wargaming stuff, and I'm more likely to respond to things. My personal Facebook, I don't really do that. The accent is in the Rubik's Cube. Huh. What about the Relic board game? What are your thoughts? I don't think I've played the Relic. I've heard of it and I've seen it, but I haven't played it. Mark, pretty much. Twilight is lengthy too. Lately we've been playing 30-minute board games. Yeah, I don't even own a 30-minute board game. All of my favorite board games are long games. Like, I love the Game of Thrones board game. I love the Battlestar Galactica board game. I love Twilight Imperium. Actually, you know what? Space Cadets Dice Duels is actually probably about 30 minutes long. But that's just an exciting game. But that one, you need a lot of people to play, and they have to be, like, into it. So, it's hard to do that one. Cell, that game against Dave still going ahead? Are we just waiting for him to come back? Yeah, pretty much. I think that's how it's going. He didn't respond to my emails, so I assume that that's the case. I have no idea. Did you step on a bear trap? Here there are a lot in Canada. Oh, yeah, everywhere. But you don't step on them. We're used to that. Like, every week when I go out and do the weekly the bear hunt, when we blow all the trumpets and we try and track them down, that's when you actually have to worry about it, because there's a lot of people and everyone's laying the bear traps and you don't know. So, other than that, though, no, I don't think it was a bear trap. Owen just got into Legion. Is there anything that is like a must-have? Forsaken and Shepherds, and then Ravagors. They're like the three things that you'll have in almost every list. You'll almost always have a Ravagor, you'll almost always have a Shepherd, and you'll take if you have the one extra point, you'll take a Forsaken instead of a Shepherd. And that's what you do. Oh, and have you ever played the board game called Exodus? Not that I recall. Rubbing my eye. Not that I recall. I may have, but I don't even recognize the name right now. So I haven't played it very much, if I have. Maybe one time. I actually hope you would do some dust miniatures. Models seem pretty cool. Yeah, they do seem pretty cool. That was why, like I said, Chris and I were looking at it, because Chris is all about like painting fancy models, and that's why he was really into it, I think. And I was into it just because I like the alternate history war game. So that looked kind of good. Have you tried Resistance? Would be pretty hard to stream though. I have not tried. Oh, I know what Resistance is, but I have not tried it. It's in the same sense as like Werewolf, right? Anyway, We play King of Tokyo, Resistance, Smash Up, Battlestar, Cards Against Humanity, etc. Right now, trying to get some War Machine / Hordes in, but we will see. Although lately we've just been playing League. League's great. 45 minutes of fun. I think you got a beaver bite, Owen. Looks like you'll be one of the 5 this year. To get bit by beavers? I bet way more people than 5 get bit by beavers every year. Like, those things are everywhere. I walk around and you can walk, you don't even leave the city. You go down to we have walkways through the mini gullies and forests and stuff that are around, and they just kind of hang out right next to the path, sitting in the water, just staring at you. Exodus is similar to Twilight Imperium. The board is made of hexes. Then no, I haven't played it. The only one that I've played that's the hex board game is this one. And right now we played a 3-player game the other day, and I taught 2 of my friends how to play, and they both enjoyed it. So we're going to be playing again. I'd like to get at least one more person, and then I would be willing to do a video of us playing. It'll be a long video. It's 4 hours of a game, and I'll see if I can edit it down, and I'll get out the hums and haws when everyone's thinking about what they're going to do. But I'll definitely be doing a video of board games. I'd like that to be a thing as well. The gaming with the cooler, that was what it used to be. It was a bit of video games, but basically almost every 2 video games there'd be a board game of some kind. We played Space Hulk on the tabletop. We played the what's it called? Damn it, Firefly board game. We played, what other board games did we play? Did we play Chaos in the Old World? I don't remember. I know that we at Mini Wargaming did one day just sit down and all play Chaos in the Old World. But I don't think that was even filmed. I think that was just a for funs kind of thing. Spoiler alert, I won. Because I'm awesome at Chaos in the Old World. Doesn't even matter what faction I play. I'm just good at it. Chaos Gods. Right here. So, yeah. Board games will be a thing. Referring to a joke you and Chris made in the Christmas special live show. I have no words. I don't know. I have no idea. Was someone bitten and we called it a beaver bite? I don't remember this at all. See, the thing I want to do though, changing topics entirely, is when Dave and I play, it should be live streamed. That way when he cheats, you guys can catch him. Like that last time that he and I had played. Because I don't want to I don't want to lose because he's doing stuff behind my back. That would bum me out. I'd rather lose because I rolled badly or I got outplayed. It looks windy in there. That tablecloth keeps moving and it's distracting me. Oh man, you don't even know. This tablecloth, all the way at the far end of this table, it's a 6-foot table. And every now and then you'll see it kind of flutter, and it's always right on the edge of my periphery vision. I know what it is, but I always look at it as though it's something, even though I know it's not, and I have no idea why. It's just, the brain does what the brain does. Yeah, it's mostly because I've got a fan going, seeing as this is the basement and there's no windows in this room. I have a fan down here. It keeps air circulation so it doesn't get all musty and whatnot. Have you played any TCGs, trading card games? I played Magic 10 years ago, but I never really was into it. I only played a dozen games, and I played Yu-Gi-Oh probably 15 years ago when it first came out, and I never really got into that either. So no, I really don't like trading card games. I don't like collectible card games, and I don't like trading card games at all. At all. I don't even like the computer versions of these. I fucking hate them. I've been a buddy of mine, we literally just had a long talk about this last night, about Hearthstone, because I started playing Hearthstone a bit, and then I started raging at Hearthstone and not wanting to play anymore, because I can't wrap my mind around how deck building works, because it's one of those, it always just feels like it's totally random whenever I play, that I have no control over what's going to be in my hand other than if I build my hand to get more in my hand. And so no matter what situation it is, my opponent always seems to draw what he needs in the last minute, and I do not get what I need in the last minute, and I lose. And it just makes me mad. Or I'll win, and that makes me mad too. Like, I don't like winning when it's like, oh, I top decked a 10-point damage and I won. And it's like, what the, like, there's no skill involved. It's just hopefully you get the right thing. And I like miniature games because when we go to play, I have all of my tools available the entire game, unless they get destroyed. Like, when I start off, I have all of my archers, all of my dudes, and it's how I move them and how I fight with them that decides whether they're useful or not. Not, maybe my bolt thrower will show up, maybe it won't. I kind of really need it right now, but if I stall for time, maybe it'll come in. And, like, I don't like that. It bothers me. And I just couldn't get my head around it. I know that there's lots to it. I accept that. It's not for me. So, that's my problem. Magic costs more than miniatures. No, Magic does cost more than miniatures. So you don't like Hearthstone. I don't like Hearthstone. Betrayal of House on the Hill is a really fun game that starts out as a co-op but become a trader versus party game. Yeah, that's the Battlestar Galactica game is a good one. Wow, gamers in an enclosed area. Hope your friends are cleaner than the people at the local game store. Yeah, we are. We're pretty clean. Everyone bathes. It's a plus. So you don't like Hearthstone? No, I don't like it. And you can't just choose what you want to buy unless you spend more. That is another part of the game that I really dislike. Like, you see people who are big into Magic, and they'll like open a pack, and they'll just like throw out 7 of the cards in the pack because they're commons and they have millions of them. And I don't like that. It seems dumb to me. If I want to buy something, I want to get something for all of it. And like, a buddy of mine is really into Magic, and he's got like 6 decks, and like 2 of them are $500, and one of them is a $300 deck, and the other one's like $1,000, and it's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Depends on your luck, Nick. No, it doesn't. I think it's everything. First round cannon shot. Yeah, that happens in the game, but you're aware that that is a thing. Like, when you look at your opponent's list and you see, oh, he has a cannon, I'd best prepare by not putting my dragon in front of the building. I'll put him behind the building, so I get 1 turn of not getting cannoned. Whereas when I go into a trading card game, I can go like, well, most priests usually bring this, so I have to plan for what he might have. And then he does something different, and you're like, oh wait, but you can't plan. You can't at all. There's no like planning involved. It's just, I hope I draw the good hand, and he draws a hand, and oh shit, he had that card in the deck? Oh no. Nope. Hearthstone is quite a bit about card counting in a way. I can see that. My buddy who is getting really into it, he's like, the big thing is draw. You need to draw and draw and draw. You got to be ahead with more cards in your hand. Like, you have to have more cards out of your deck. Because if you have more cards available, like if you have more tools available, you're more likely to win. And you always want to spend all of your mana every turn efficiently. And so, yeah. All that wasted money on paper. Should have wasted on plastic. What would you say is the cheapest tabletop game in terms of time and money? Like, when you say time, do you mean how long it takes to play or how long it takes to build? Because the only one I can think of right now, and the one that I'm really looking at, is Infinity. Because you can buy basically a playable army for $50, and it's only like 6 models, and you only have to build and paint 6 models. Like, even War Machine, I guess War Machine would be the other one that I would go for, because you can buy a starter kit, which is like the caster and the 3 jacks, which is a playable army, and it's only 4 models, though they are a bit bigger, and you can play with that. And War Machine requires less terrain, and so you could kind of, there's less terrain involved, so I guess you could get into that easier. Oh, freaking ankle is killing me. But I guess those would be the ones I would say. Maybe Malifaux. I don't know enough about Malifaux to really justify, to call that one out on one. It's entirely, it makes sense to me that it'd be easy because you don't seem to have a lot of models on the board. But I don't know, so I don't want to say. But those are the ones that I would think of. War Machine and Infinity. Definitely not Warhammer. Definitely not Warhammer. Like either of the Warhammers. Those are crazy expensive and huge model counts required to play. If you want to play. If you want just fancy models, then yeah, go ahead. I do love that they're going out of business though. They're not going out of business. They're just shrinking drastically. Makes me smile. One of the downsides of War Machine, it is less popular than 40k. I want to begin it, but there are almost no people to play with. 40k everywhere. Find somebody who'd be willing to try it and split on the 2-player starter box. Once you start playing it, other people will start playing it. Because a lot of people are at the point where I want to try something new, but nobody does anything other than 40k. But if somebody just goes, you know what? I'm going to buy the 2-player starter kit. Does anyone want to play this game? And then more people will buy into it. It's the way it goes, because you need a player base to play. And if you don't have one, as soon as people start playing other games, they'll just play other games. I guarantee you. When Hordes came out, I got a 50-point Mark 1 for $71 retail. There you go. So... some Infinity models are a pig to put together. Oh yeah, some models in every game are a pain in the ass to put together. Everblight. Everblight's a good faction. Malifaux also has a low starting cost. Yeah, I figured that would be the case. It looks like it. 40k has a cooler setting than War Machine in my opinion. I don't give a shit about setting. I want to play a game that's fun and competitive. I don't care if the background to my faction is awesome, if I have a good time playing it. That means more to me. GW, same amount of sales, yet half as many sales. Amount of dollars, I should say. Right, they have the same amount of income with half as many sales, which because they've doubled the costs. So people are selling half as much stuff, and they're making the same amount of money. And it sounds like they're staying afloat, but that's terrible. If you're making more new product and you're selling less of it, you're in a bad place. More cards can be your doom if your opponent has a bounce deck. Makes you draw cards and return cards to your hand from the board. Sure, man. Look, Sam, I was just saying what he told me. That's a traditional way of playing the higher tier. I don't know, and I don't care. I don't care. But... That's what I saw in the trading card games, and I just nope, not for me, not for me. With half the amount of product, yeah. Never forget eBay to make getting into a game cheaper. We always assume that we're going to pay from the store, because then you're supporting the companies directly. It doesn't necessarily mean half as many players there, Mark. It just means that the players that are currently there aren't buying anymore. Now, it may mean that there's half as many players, that less people are playing the game and less people are getting into it. That's entirely possible. But it also can just mean, for example, when a unit of dudes was $25, spending $25 a month buying a new unit is not that bad. But when you double the cost, so they're $50, a lot of people don't want to spend $50 on 5 plastic guys. It's just, it's not worth the money. A lot of people can afford it, whatever. But I personally, I wouldn't be buying 2 or 3 boxes of Terminators every month. Not because I can't afford it, but because I don't want to waste the money on it. And I would consider it a waste, because it's a lot of money to buy a few pieces of plastic. And so, I buy them maybe every other month. I spend the same amount of money, but I buy less. And so... there you go. So the profit stays more or less the same, but the sales go down. And then eventually it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I've got what I want. I don't want to buy anymore. And then they stop. That customer stops buying. And he waits for something new to come out, new models to come out. And that's the part that there's a big problem with right now. Because they keep releasing these new models, but the sales numbers aren't coming back up again. Bop, bop, bop. I was just saying. Ian, I like the fact that you can win at War Machine even when everything looks like it's against you. Oh yeah. Hail Mary attempts in War Machine are amazing. The fact that like it's that you can assassinate the enemy caster. It always gives you that level of there's something I might be able to do here to bring it back. It's great. That's why I like it so much. Well, that's one of the reasons. It's a good competitive game. I don't know, I've started falling out of War Machine a little bit just because like I've got kind of sick of it. So we'll see as we keep going. Yep, Ian, happened to me a couple times. I've lost so many games from last minute Hail Marys. It happens to everyone. And you do it to people. It happens. It just does. That's the way the game works. Which is good. It makes it fun. It makes it always exciting. It's unlike 40k where if I just obliterate you with my shooting army at the beginning, you're kind of screwed. And you just kind of hope, but you know how the game's going to go 6 turns from now. You're basically on the down and out the entire game. Whereas War Machine, if I get a good thing off and like kill one of your UAs and a Warjack, you're not quite out of the game. You just got to do more risky things. But anyway, we're coming to about the hour point, and as I've talked about, I always try and keep these shows around an hour long because that's what I think is the easiest way for people to watch. So for those of you watching in post, leave a comment, subscribe, leave a comment especially because I will of course answer these again next week on next week's show, and maybe another painting show that I may be doing tonight or tomorrow depending on what happens. And basically that's it. Thank you for watching, those of you who have watched all the way to the end here, and I'll see you all on Wednesday for Gaming with the Cooler, if not sooner, for a painting blog, because I'm going to be doing more painting. I guess it's a vlog. And that's that. So leave us a comment, like and subscribe. There'll be a straw poll going up on the Facebook page, so make sure you like the Facebook page. There's a link in the description below. And that will basically, you'll get to vote on the Gaming with the Cooler episode this week. Other than that, I will see you all Wednesday, and thank you for watching. Have a good one, guys.